Thank you so much for joining us for this Shopify Master Class series by Justuno. This video, we're going to be going over how to get started quickly with Shopify so you can get your store up and running really fast. So my name is Elle McCann, and I've been listed as a Shopify expert for over 8 years now. And in that 8 years, I've actually built over 170 different Shopify stores. So I know a little bit about starting a Shopify store. So in that time, I've also been documenting all of my process as well as going through different Shopify apps and tutorials on my YouTube channel that you can check out as well, where I post weekly content all about Shopify. And my goal is really to help you get started with Shopify quickly and make sure that I answer any questions along the way so that you know exactly what to do for the next step to grow your Shopify store. So in this masterclass video, I am going to be going over 5 different things that I see new Shopify store owners really needing to pay attention to so that they can make their store stand out and they can get started quickly ahead of their competition. So the very first thing that I recommend if you are starting your Shopify store is to know exactly who your ideal customer is. I cannot tell you how many times people skip this step, and you do not need to skip this step. It's probably actually the most critical point of starting your Shopify store or any kind of e-commerce brand overall. And it's so important to know exactly who your ideal customer is. Once you know who they are, and I'm not talking like general stuff like women aged 25 to 35, that's really general. You need to get very specific. But once you know specifically who your ideal customer is, it's so much easier to target them in your advertising and social media, plus in your wording on your site. Once you know exactly who your ideal customer is, you can then make sure that you're using the voice and the language that they use to describe their problem or their goals on your website, in your product description, in your email marketing, social media, paid advertising, and so much more, so that it'll actually be very successful for you. So I want you to think more than just their age and their gender and their kind of general demographics. I want you to think about what their hopes and their dreams are. What are they excited about? What kind of goal are they trying to accomplish that your product can help them do that? Or another example is to think about what their fears or their pain points are. And then you can speak to those and how your product solves that. An example of this is that I'm actually a recent first-time mom, and I had a problem earlier with my baby not sleeping through the night. So I was looking up all these different solutions and products that could hopefully help me have my baby sleep through the night. And what I found was so many times the product description was just reading out like a spec sheet. It was telling me all of the materials that it had in it and, the care instructions for how to, wash it and things like that, which yes, it's important to know. However, that's not what I wanted to know when I was researching it at 2 a.m. I wanted to know, is this going to help my baby sleep better? Am I going to get more sleep? How is it going to make everything better? I had a pain point that I was looking to solve with a product. I wasn't even looking at the price. I just wanted my problem solved. So I found a product that spoke specifically to those pain points, saying like, hey, I see you, tired mama. Like, this will help your baby sleep better. And guess what? I was like, take my money. Like, I want to solve this problem. Here you go. And it did solve the problem. So guess what? I ended up leaving a review on their site and following them on social media and buying another product from them because I was being spoken to directly. They knew exactly who I was, they knew how they could help me, and they really conveyed that in their copy on their site and in the advertising that I received from them. So this is why it's so important to know exactly who your ideal customer is and how your product and your brand can help them specifically. Okay, so my second tip is to organize your products and your menu. So with Shopify, there's different ways that you can categorize your products. So there's collections, which is kind of a big bucket group. So think of this as like earrings and bracelets and more individual items. And then you have your product, which would be an individual necklace that you would have inside the necklaces collection. You also have variants, which are applied to individual products. So if you have a necklace product, you may have different variants of different colors. You may have a purple necklace and a white necklace and a black necklace. And those are all different options housed inside your product. And lastly, you have product tags, which are a great way to also add additional filtering for products on your site with search bars and things like that. So you want to add in product tags like your style of your necklace. So if it's a certain kind of rectangular bar, whatever it is that's going to help people find your products on your site. It's really important to think about how you're going to actually showcase your products on your site before you get started creating them, because that actually depends on how you create your product. If you don't have a lot of products on your site, you may want to break out those necklaces. Instead of having one necklace product and having the different colors of white, purple, black, you may want to have them as 3 individual products of a white necklace, a purple necklace, and a black necklace to fill out your store a little bit more. Once you know what your products are, then it's easier to figure out how to set them up on your site. You want to think through of how people are going to be searching your site for your products as well. Are they going to be typing it into the search bar because you have a lot of products and people are trying to find something quickly? Are they going to be looking on the collection page at a bunch of products and using filter settings in your Shopify theme there to filter by a certain price point or a certain color or style? You want to make sure if you're using those kind of filter settings that you're adding in product tags to your products so that way you can actually filter by them correctly. Once you figure out how you want to actually categorize and set up your products on the site, you then want to apply that same kind of logic to setting up your menus. So many times I see people do these cutesy kind of names for different collections or products or even, an about page. So instead of trying to make it sound really kind of cutesy or align in with your brand, which yes, it's good to have your branding incorporated there, you want to make sure that you're making it very clear of what people are actually searching for on your site and how they can easily find that. If you have a one product store, then you can highlight other things at the top. So you would have your one product link that would be a shop link. Then you could have reviews or about us at the top as well. But if you have multiple products on your store and you have different collections, then you really want to think through of the best way to organize all that information so that customers can very quickly figure out what they're looking for on your site, whether they're browsing or they're coming with something directly in mind, that they can easily find it on your site and purchase it. So again, this kind of ties back to knowing exactly who your ideal customer is and knowing how they're going to be actually finding your products online and searching for your products on your store. So my third tip is to make sure that you're picking a Shopify theme that really is going to work well with your branding as well as the imagery that you have available. There's so many great Shopify themes, which are kind of your style and your store design, and they have all these big, beautiful imagery. But if you don't have big, beautiful imagery for your products or your brand, then it's not gonna work out and that's not gonna be the theme for you. You really wanna make sure that you're thinking through of exactly what kind of assets you have for your business. So what kind of photos that you have, what kind of videos, any close-ups that you have that you wanna display on your site, and then finding a theme that works for you then. You can go on to the Shopify theme store and you can actually search for different themes by filters. If you're looking for a certain type of functionality or a certain type of amount of products that you have on your store, you can sort by that on the theme store, and it makes it a really helpful way to really kind of hone in and figure out the best theme for your business. Also with the Shopify theme store, you can actually try out a theme on your site. So you can go ahead and get it into your Shopify store and start some customizing to see, okay, maybe I thought I wanted this slideshow, but this isn't really working and looking the best, or maybe it doesn't work on mobile like how you thought it was going to be. And so instead of actually purchasing that theme and then realizing it after the fact, you can try it out first on your store, see if it works or not, and then purchase only if you're going to be publishing that theme live. So that's a really great way to really test out themes and make sure that you're picking the right theme and style for your products and brand. You want to make sure that you're really highlighting your products and that people are very easily being able to identify what your products are, the benefits of it, and you're quickly getting them to the cart page to check out on your site. So my fourth tip is to be strategic with your Shopify apps. So many times I have logged into client Shopify stores only to see that they'd have 20, 30 apps, and a lot of them were doing kind of similar functionality. So you don't need 20 apps. First off, it gets expensive to have that many apps on your store. Plus, it's gonna actually start slowing your site speed down because each of these apps is having to add additional code to your Shopify store. So on the front end, it's making your site perform a little bit slower. Also, it may just end up looking really cluttered if you go to your front end of your Shopify store and there's pop-ups and there's all these craziness going on because you've got so many apps that are doing so many different things. You want to be really strategic about what functionality that you need specifically on your site. So this could either be for your product to work, like if you had customization, you would need to have a customization app so you could go in and ask for additional features like uploading an image or customizing text or choosing a font. Or you have either functionality that's going to help build your brand overall. So I definitely recommend thinking through of a couple key ones that you would want to add into your store. I personally really always like to add in an email pop-up to every Shopify store that I create because it's a great way to continually keep getting emails for your Shopify store and for your business, and email marketing is a great way to grow any e-commerce store. I also like to add in a rewards program app. So this way you can reward people for coming to your site again and again and making repeat purchases. Because you have to remember, it's a lot easier to make a repeat purchase than it is to get a new purchase every single time. So rewarding customers for coming back to your site again and again is always great. Also, I always like to add in a reviews app, so that way you can be collecting reviews on your site and showcasing them as well, so that you have that social proof for your brand. So if someone's on the fence on your product page and they're not really sure, you have all the product reviews right there. Hopefully you've got some images from customers as well, and you can actually see, okay, this is actually a reputable brand, the product is helping people, and I'm gonna actually get this product in the mail if I give them my payment information. Another great app that I always like to include is doing product upsells and cross-sells. So this way you can increase your average order value by getting your customers to spend just a little bit more with a product that is going to help complement either their existing one or be a little bit of an upgrade. So you want to make sure that you're thinking through of specific functionality like this that's going to either help your conversion rate or your overall long-term strategy for marketing, like email marketing, and any apps that you need to just make your store function and work correctly. But I also recommend anytime you add in apps to go ahead and schedule it at the beginning of every quarter. So that would be 4 times a year. You're doing a review of your existing apps on your Shopify store to make sure that they are still working correctly on your store, that there's still something that you need, and that there isn't a better option out there now that maybe would work better for you. Doing a quarterly review like this will help you make sure that you're using all of the apps exactly how you need to be, that there isn't a better app out there to do your functionality, and that you're not wasting your money on an app that just isn't working for you or you're not really using on your store anymore. So my 5th and final tip is to think about your customer's journey on your site and with your brand. So as I had just mentioned, it's so much easier to get a repeat purchase on your site than it is to get new customers every single time. So you really want to make sure to get that repeat purchase that you're thinking through of how your customer is experiencing your brand overall. So that means if they abandon their cart on your site, what kind of abandoned cart email are they going to be getting to get them to come back and actually purchase? Once they do purchase, what is their order confirmation email going to look like? How long does it take for their shipping for their product to get to them? Are they getting shipping notifications where it's easy to track their product and they know where it is every single step of the way? Once they receive their product, are you sending them a review email to review the product or checking in with them or asking them to follow you on social media or giving them a discount for another purchase on your site? You really want to think through of not just how to get that first initial purchase from that customer, but what happens next? How are you going to get them indoctrinated into your brand so that they become a raving fan and that they are recommending you to other friends and family members and that they're coming back for repeat purchases? You really want to think through how you can stay top of mind for this new customer so that they think of you anytime they need to reorder their product or have one of your services again, and that they're referring you to other people as well. It's so important, yes, to get that first sale, but to really think through that customer experience and the journey throughout so that they keep coming back to you again and again is going to be so profitable for your business. Also, you want to think through of maybe they came to your site, but they didn't purchase right away. So how are you going to get them to come back and check out your products again? This is where it's really important to be collecting email addresses so that you can be continually sending emails to people, welcoming them to your brand, getting them to know, like, and trust you, giving them a discount code for their first order, whatever it is that you're trying to do to get them to make that first order on your site. If they didn't make it whenever they first came to the site the first time, you want to make sure that you are still warming them up and thinking about their journey of how you're going to actually get them to know, like, and trust you and come back to your site at another point to purchase from you then. So I hope you found these 5 tips helpful for how to get your Shopify store started quickly and stand out from your competition. There are more videos coming up in this Shopify Master Class series, so make sure to stay tuned and watch every video that comes out all about Shopify and how to grow and launch your online store.